Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the rise of Skywalker, 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson, and my website is alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer, and my website is petetheretailer.com.
And I am John Kovalic, and my website is darktower.com.
Welcome back, John, perennial all-star.
Hey, it's good to be here. The Bob Uecker of Star Wars Minute.
Exactly.
Typically you do not get any minutes with no dialogue whatsoever. So this one we at least got ones that it's basically the same line repeated a bunch of times. So
hey, don't knock it. They use 13 different words. Some of them are repeated. Some of them are repeated, right. But they do. That's more than some minutes I've had.
Actually, well, dear listener,
sorry.
Well, let me just finish introducing the show, and then we can get to it. Obviously, we are discussing minute 29 of The Rise of Skywalker.
Obviously.
29 starts off with a stormtrooper flying now? I don't think that's right. I must have written that down wrong. Anyway, it ends up a minute later with Rey blowing up a flying stormtrooper. Now, John, what were you going to say?
I was so happy when I got this minute. This is whoops, and there it goes now. This is literally one of my favorite moments in this movie. This is Rise of Skywalker for me is a problematic movie, for many obvious reasons, but I still enjoyed it. I mean, it's not great as far as Star Warses go, but I had a fun time with a lot of it, and this was one of my favorite scenes. I call them minutes now, but yes, this was wonderful. You've got the whole gang together. You've got C-3PO being C-3PO. You've got BB-8 being BB-8, and I love that whole sequence, starting with Chewie. Apparently, I don't know. I've not read the subtitles. Does Chewie actually say they fly now?
That's what was going to be a question of mine. Is Chewie saying that first? Can we assume he was the first one to?
Or C-3PO translates it.
Or is he just saying, holy fill in the blank?
Amazing. Right. These guys again.
Holy Kashyyyk. I'm assuming, Chewbacca's the longest serving, right? He's older than C-3PO.
Unknown. Right? It depends. Do you count Anakin building him as his birth, or do you consider that just him repairing a droid that was already around and he kind of just...
he kind of comes to be when Anakin turns him on, more or less. So
counting that as his,
I would say that Chewbacca's older, therefore Chewbacca has more experience with this kind of a thing. So he would be the one to be like, oh, they fly. Like, he's the old timer. It's like, oh, they fly? No, when I was your age, they were all clones. And everybody else is just like, whatever, old carpet. Old carpet.
Yeah, so the flying stormtroopers, the highlight of this is the centerpiece of the moment.
Monty Python's flying stormtroopers.
Yes.
C-3PO, Finn, and Poe seem to be surprised at this turn of events. Even in universe, we have seen flying stormtroopers before this. I guess in Rebels and Clone Wars, there were both flying stormtroopers. And of course, now since this movie has come out, we learned in The Mandalorian that we saw flying stormtroopers there too. So I mean, it only makes sense. Why would they not have jetpacks? Like, why wouldn't everyone be using jetpacks? So
yeah, they got flying cars. They need jetpacks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really the first. No, actually, I guess when you saw, the first real advance in stormtrooper technology came in Force Awakens, when all of a sudden the stormtroopers produced these rods that could deflect a lightsaber.
They
had, but I mean, the
staves of staves of some kind.
Yes, a pole rod, some such. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of now almost expected, on the TV series at least, that you'll see some kind of new technology showing up almost every episode, every series, certainly. Yeah. But this was actually Yeah, but this was actually really cool. I mean, I don't get the dynamics of, the physical force, not the force, but the momentum of the bike thing, the back half just popping up. I don't know what that would do to the momentum.
The catapult launcher of sorts.
Slingshot kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, a trebuchet would be more efficient, I think, in that situation.
Plus funnier.
A trebuchet is never not funny. But no, I thought that. I mean, this is also a beautiful. I think it's a beautifully shot minute. Like the action is really well filmed. I love that whole cascading Chewie C-3PO. They fly now. Finn. They fly now. Poe. They fly now. I mean, that is such a beautifully delivered line. I mean, give Oscar Isaac the Oscar for that line. That was fantastic. I loved it. Yeah, I'm seriously, I love this minute. Problematic movie, but this is a terrific minute.
Well, let's, fill you in on the fact that so far I really do like this movie a lot, and Alex not so much. He's warming to it maybe in little bits and pieces, but no, I quite enjoy this movie. I think it's all fun, and it's very much in line with that. And it's a nice little quick quip dialogue that doesn't take away from anything. We're not spending too long on it. It's not eye-rolly really. It
doesn't have that General Hugs. Can you correct me,
right.
Mr. General Hugs bit? Yeah, it just felt great.
I remember when the film first came out, there were, I don't know if you'd say allegations, but or
alligators.
Swamps.
But anyway, someone said that this scene originally was not in the film, and that the word came from up on high that, well, we have these new Stormtrooper toys we have to sell, so you have to include a scene where the Stormtroopers fly and we're showcasing this new toy, and people were like, oh, pointing that as to why this movie, what contributed to it being, as they saw it, bad. But Star Wars, putting toys in Star Wars is almost like from the DNA. Like that's kind of always been part of the thing. So
especially toys of characters who don't make it into the movie. I mean, isn't that from the very first, from A New Hope on, aren't some of the most collectible figures, some which actually never appeared? And I remember there being some characters, again, from Force Awakens who were not in the movie, but who were very prominent in the pre-release toy campaign.
Right.
Yeah. We miss you,
Constable
Zuvio.
Yes. And if I was a kid, I would love to have like a spring-loaded version of those Imperial bikes.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. Do kids even play with Star Wars toys anymore?
My kid did. My kid definitely did when they were younger. We got the action figures. We got the Lego. Oh my goodness.
Lego is a whole different category.
Yeah, we went through when my kid was 5. We went through the entirety of the Lego Star Wars video game, and putting together the Lego Ewok Village. And it almost drove my wife mad. Not putting together the village, but playing with it afterwards. With a 7-year-old at the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. As far as from a direct parenting experience, kids still play Star Wars.
Good. I like how I'm sitting here like, I don't know, do kids still play it? My kids play Star Wars toys all the time. What am I talking about? Now, granted, a lot of them are my old toys. Either from very few original things, but definitely a lot of You're
not a typical sample though of.
Yeah, exactly. To be taken with a grain of salt.
The other thing I like about this minute is it's got a really fun little C-3PO being C-3PO. Excellent job, sir. Terrible job, sir.
That was getting a little.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if he would have said that to like a Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think it's because he thinks of these guys as like not really the Star Wars, he still thinks of Luke, Leia, Han, and those guys as the real Star Wars people, and these are like he can be more sassy with them.
Literally, later in the movie, he refers to them as his friends, which it's always been before that Master Luke. And, does he, I assume he calls people master in this, but that's definitely a sir, not a master he's referring to there.
Yeah, he does, I think, say master, like Master Finn, Master Poe, I think, at some point.
Does he say Mistress Ray? That sounds weird.
That's what I was trying to, it does sound weird.
It's like a Velvet Underground song.
Yes.
What is he implying? But the, it's C-3PO's best movie, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly, he's got multiple moments to shine, and he's excellent comic timing in it.
And none of them are forced. Again, I mean, there's none of these. Oh, I'm beside myself. I roll moments.
Yeah, C-3PO's worst movie.
Many's worst movie.
I know Golden Tony has said he's out of the game now, but I would like to, if possible, I would like to see him appear in this future Rey movie that they have recently announced. Especially now that he's sassier and stuff, I think he would be a good addition to the squad. So,
I would offer. I know it's I think the timing is not. Well, it's droids. Droids can be ancient.
Immortal.
Like C-3PO.
Yeah,
but I would throw out there. AD3, who is the droid from Jedi Temple Challenge, as voiced by Mary Holland, because Mary Holland we know is a good improv actress and a funny person in general, and could carry on that legacy and be a funny protocol droid for the future episodes. So
who is the droid?
I would accept that.
Who is the droid in The Mandalorian? Is it R5?
R5D4, the R2 looking droid.
Yes. Yeah, I like having a bit of another cowardly droid on the scene. Enough for these brave little droids and their can-do attitude. I like the ones who kind of go, wait a second here.
He's like the 4F of droids. Like he couldn't take the actual being out on a spaceship and repairing stuff in combat. He's like, you just work in the office.
I think we need a droid named 4F. That'd be a good. It was just he's got a flat tire or something. That's why he couldn't.
So yes, excellent job, Tara. Well, speaking of droids, BB-8 contributes to the thing by puncturing that smoke canister, which then goes flying up in the air. Luckily, it didn't just blow up right there and kill them all. But
not now. Not now. BB-8 being three of the words which are not repeated in my So three unique words strung together.
It very much reminded me. Speaking of parenting kids, it very much reminded me of that kind of a thing where kids shouting about something and you're in the middle of something tense and or you're driving or something something's going on, you're focused on something else, and and it's happened to me a handful of times where the kid is just like like dad, but then they do have a good idea that would help. You know what I mean? They are being helpful, and it's not just like look at the cartwheel I can do. It's like, yes, I know. it's actually something helpful. And so BB-8, I feel like, is very much the kid in this. In general, that's BB-8's role in this, is to be like the little kid stand-in.
Yeah. I very much agree. It's such a fun character. I loved BB-8 from the moment it was introduced in Rise of Skywalker, and it's just really fun anytime BB-8 gets a clever idea. From the very first thumbs up with the lighter with Finn.
Thumbs up.
This is such an enjoyable minute. I'm sorry, I'm just like really, really loving this.
No, that's all right.
No, that's good. I went through BB-8. That was I went through the range of emotional reactions when that first trailer dropped, and I'm like, great, more like nonsense CGI creatures, and then seeing them bring them out on stage, and it was like, no, it's either a puppet or an actual remote the whole time. I'm like, oh, okay, I misjudged that, and I was overreacting there, and then that led to a whole these modern movies where they use the full toolbox. They use CGI in conjunction with, practical effects, puppets, etc., models. It's and they did. People are people like to bring that in my face and be like, look at all the models they made for the prequels. And I know, but we've all seen more behind the scenes stuff of them just, like riding a pommel horse covered in green screen than we have
wire mesh, CGI structures. And,
Well, what's that whole what's the whole Thunderdome thing they've got constructed for the television series now? The sort of 3D projection. They film it inside.
The volume.
The volume.
Yeah, that's what it's called. It's a terrible name.
It is an awful name.
Yeah,
boy,
it's got a different name, but I think the volume is like the trade name for it. It's like
it's stupid. Change it.
Yeah, and that has its pluses and minuses. Again, use all the tools in your toolbox.
Yeah.
If you
no, I'm not objecting to the technology.
For plenty of scenes for TV, but then also go outside every once in a while.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just for television, getting these sorts of shots is pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a good. I'm not opposed to any technology, any effects technology. I think we should. It's all useful. It's all good. We should use it all. All of it.
Then the robots rise and it becomes problematic.
Yes. Let me just get this on record. I love all technology.
I welcome our future masters.
Yeah.
Yeah, future masters.
Sure.
So I'm going to call a little bit of a physics fudge here. Physics fudge.
Okay. Physics fudge.
He shoots the canister, blows up, and then the guy goes zipping through the cloud, and he's in the cloud for like a good 4 seconds.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And I feel like that's a bit. I miss this thing is called a tread speeder. By the way, I don't know if we brought that up yet. A tread speeder. And its maximum speed is 200 kph. That's 124 miles per hour for you and me.
Yes.
And
how many Enterprises is that?
It's say about 20 Enterprises. Some on the surface. So anyway, I just think a guy would go through the cloud much faster than that. Really would not provide much of a coverage for them. But you let it go because it helps.
But if they're launching that from the tread speeder, then when it pops up in the air, then it's also moving forward with momentum.
It would be moving backwards, though. The cloud would be moving backwards as the tread speeder is moving forwards. So the cloud first appears.
No, it would be moving forward with them, right? If it started, because even though it looks like it's moving backwards relative to us, this is here. The two ways that I learned this is one from the old MTV game show Remote Control and their category on Brady physics. And then the second time I learned it was when I jumped off the back of a moving car and did not go the way I thought it would go. But you certainly maintain, even though it seems like you're moving backwards relative to your momentum, you're still moving forwards relative to the background. So I think that this would be, there would still be forward momentum on the physicists or high school students, feel free to back me up on this with some illustrations or something. But I think the canister in the cloud would still be moving forward with velocity relative to the surrounding area.
Got it. Yes.
As would the Stormtrooper, but it would be backwards, kind of, and slower relative to the speeders, but forward relative to the surroundings.
So yes, it takes the trooper 3 seconds from when it is implied that they enter, is around second 52, and then they exit around second 55 is when they see the cliff or the little rocks coming up at them.
Star Wars seconds.
Somebody
work
that into somebody make that into a diagram and prove that via physics.
It takes 12 parsecs.
There you go.
But we do see it's very scout troopery, crashing into the thing and then going flying. So I'll allow it. It's cool.
Yes.
If it's cool, I'll allow it. So physics be damned. It's Star Wars.
And I love Rey shooting at the underside of that Treadwell. No, Treadwell is something very different.
She better not be shooting Treadwell.
Yeah, that is just a really terrific shot. Again, there's this really nice shot earlier on where just you see the two tread speeders and the two flying troopers just all coming at you, and it is again. I just cannot say enough about this minute. You guys, I'm so happy. I'm enormously happy right now.
That reminds me that I did want to. I haven't Haven't had a chance yet, but I do own the 3D version of this movie, and I want to watch it in 3D. This scene in particular seems like it would be fun.
Oh yes, I've not actually. Golly, did I see the first one in 3D? I don't think I've seen any of these in 3D.
I think I saw Force Awakens once in 3D. I think that was the last. I don't think I saw The Last Jedi in 3D.
Oh, actually, no. I think I saw. I'm blanking on the stupid name. Everybody.
Rogue One.
Everyone dies. Rogue One. Thank you. In 3D, and that was really worth it in 3D. Some of those battle scenes.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, I've collected all of the Disney era movies in physical media on physical media in 3D. So I should do a report on that at some point.
Yeah.
I think right now I'm just at a loss for how to play them in 3D. I don't have my same setup. So,
but yeah, they really need. I know we say this every time the 3D comes up, but they really need to have the Disney Plus app on the Oculus.
Yes.
Let you see the 3D versions of stuff.
Yeah, once again, Disney Plus, listen, or Oculus, whoever's listening, get together. Disney Plus app on the Oculus to play all the Disney era Star Wars movies and all the Marvel movies that were released in 3D. Look at that. You got lots of content right there.
Yeah. And so speaking of Rey's shooting, I love the sound of Rey's laser gun. It sounds different than maybe I brought this up earlier in the film, but every time it comes up when she shoots, her gun sounds like the droideka guns. They have like a boom 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 kind of like a kind of quality to it. So,
as opposed
sorry if I blew out the speakers. Yeah,
right. And is this still the same blaster that Han Solo gave her, right?
Oh, you know what? That's a great question.
Oh, wow.
That one when they got off at Maz's castle, and he was like,
check
"Here,
the visual dictionary
just in case." You know, as much attention is paid to the provenance and the ownership of Luke's lightsaber, I feel like this is the blaster that Han Solo gave her. This should be important to her too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The visual dictionary is inconclusive. Holstered LPANN-14 blaster pistol, one of several found aboard the Millennium Falcon. Doesn't specifically say this is the one. That seems like it should be, though, right?
You would assume so.
Here, I'm gonna back it up a little bit and see what are we talking about here? 29. I'm gonna play it on here and just see if I can positively ID that as. Where's Rey?
Do you think Han Solo?
It looks like it. It looks like it.
I'm pretty sure it's the same.
I'm looking at the scene from The Force Awakens. I just Googled Han gives Rey a blaster. And it does look very similar.
So while we have no proof that Han Solo is conclusively dead, we just saw his body he did get stabbed in the chest, but people have come back from worse than that in Star Wars.
That's true.
It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah, and the ghost we see in this film is a memory is generated by Kylo Ren's own mind, so it has nothing to do with him being deceased.
Right.
So I was wondering what happened to Han Solo's gun. Is it going to be like Luke's lightsaber, where it becomes a thing about search for Han Solo's gun?
Because that was Starkiller Base blew up.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
There's not a lot coming back from that.
He would have to not only survive being stabbed in the lightsaber and falling from that high cliff, but he would also have to somehow get off the planet.
Right. All without the Force.
Well, Phasma did it too. Phasma somehow got off the planet in time. So.
That's what you just reminded me of one of my negatives about this movie.
There's no Phasma.
That Phasma didn't come back yet again.
That we know of. This is only minute 29.
That's true, yeah.
No, I fully expected Phasma to be back, and that was just slightly disappointing.
It's a missed opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
She needs to be more like Jason Voorhees in my book.
Especially since they cast like a known actress in it. It's not like in the original Boba Fett where it was kind of like, oh yeah, a stuntman is playing or whatever, but it's, I know it's Jeremy Bullock, but Jeremy Bullock wasn't like the star of a popular TV show on HBO or one of the stars of it, so.
Should have been.
Very weird. I wonder with well, it's also funny because JJ introduced her and she was in Last Jedi but didn't appear in this one. I wonder if that he had planned that originally or what the deal was with that.
I mean, he thought she was killed off, maybe, and then Rian Johnson brought her back.
Because,
I mean,
yeah. I saw Gwendoline Christie actually in a magnificent, back in 2019, I think it was, in London. Absolutely fantastic version of Midsummer Night's Dream at the Riverside Theatre, I think it was, in London. And it was kind of a sex change version. Is that the sex
gender
swap? Gender swap. Thank you. Gender swap.
Right.
Thank you. Version. I play too much Munchkin. That's the problem. It was really. She was just so great in this. It was. She is such a fantastic actress. Not that she's got anything to do with this minute or this movie, but I just thought I would throw that in there.
Yeah, she should be. She should have stuff to do with this movie.
Did she recently show up in some other franchise? I feel like I saw her recently.
Maybe.
Maybe in Addams Family? Maybe in that Wednesday? Is she in Wednesday?
Yes.
She's like the headmistress of the school. She's like the Dumbledore of Wednesday.
Yes.
Right?
The Dumbledore of Wednesday. Well, hey, speaking of other movies for a second, we do this every once in a while. I just wanted to take a moment, since thematically, since John's been here for every movie, I wanted to step through some of the other movies and see what was happening in minute 29. Because this, sticking with the Disney era for now. I mean, maybe I can skip through the other ones too. But I noticed in the Disney era we've got interesting. This is where Rey first meets Finn. At the Nima Outpost Marketplace. So, and she slugs him.
Wow, and that the first 30 minutes of that movie seemed very quick paced, but compared to this, that is like a snail.
Yeah.
That's we've already got stuff going on. There's a lot has happened there, but there's a lot more that's happened here. Last Jedi, minute 29. Kylo Ren is kind of launching his attack on the fleet, and we get to see our friend Stomaroni Stark.
Mm-hmm.
Wow!
And the X-wings getting ready to launch.
Wow!
When does Rey get to Ahch-To in Last Jedi?
In Last Jedi, I don't know.
Is it like 15 minutes in? Anyway, you don't have to program.
I'm not. It's not the scope of this episode.
Yeah.
Rogue One, we get our cameo from Dr. Evazan and Walrus Man.
Oh, God.
In minute 29.
So they're already on Jeddah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Solo, they're sitting around the campfire talking about their future plans before they do the big job.
That's always so sad when they do that. You know just who's going to die. 4 days from retirement.
Never talk about your plans after you do retire, because that's the surest sign you will be ironically killed.
Right. So just wanted to hop around the different Disney era movies to see what the pacing is like. Mm-hmm. We talk about the breakneck pacing of this movie, but to see where we are in the other movies.
Well, anything else for minute number 29?
Nope, just very, very, very happy. Although this is actually, honestly, this is the first time I realized the planet is named Prasanna. Mm-hmm. This never hit me before. In fact, I remember in the movie just not catching the names of the planets. So when they yeah,
right.
When they blew up that one planet whose name I'm now blanking on, I assumed it was this. No. in this movie. But I assumed it was this planet which was blown up. And I was like, no, not the one with all the happy singing kids and natives and everybody. But no, they blew up they blew up the sad planet where the children had already been stolen. So it was okay, I guess.
That's from one of the Star Destroyers. I totally forgot that a planet gets blown up in this movie.
I guess we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler alert. It's where the planet Poe's. Suddenly we find he's got an ex-girlfriend. The planet she's from. But yeah, it's every Star Destroyer is now a planet killer, and They kill one. It's like, no, they killed up the happy dancing nomadic peoples. and
But it
possibly
turned out to be a
Lando.
false alarm, right?
It turned
False
out-
alarm.
Okay.
These were people who wanted death on this planet, apparently.
Right, yeah.
It was a sad,
Really,
sad
it
planet.
was- So they were all begging for it.
Yes.
John,
this
before we
is
go,
just really fun. Sorry.
I was curious if you watched Andor.
I haven't watched Andor yet. I've actually been saving that because I've heard such good things about it. I loved season 3 of The Mandalorian. I loved Obi-Wan Kenobi. I thought both of those stuck those landings so well. In fact, the last episode of Obi-Wan is probably, outside of New Hope, my most watched Star Wars. My kid and I will just every now and then turn it on to see Darth Vader being thrown around like a puppet, or the whole scene with Obi-Wan and the rocks behind him is great. And, not quite as satisfying, but still really enjoyable. I did love the last episode of The Last Mandalorian. And I will not be the last Mandalorian. Sorry. But I've been, Book of Boba Fett, okay, that kind of meandered a bit. But I've been really happy with the Star Wars television offerings. And I've heard such good things about Andor. I'm kind of just waiting till I've got the time and the bandwidth to just get it all in.
You might as well wait until the second season comes out and then just
That's
do the
what
whole
I've
thing
heard.
in one shot.
Yes.
Next year, you can literally.
Yeah.
I think it basically shows up as like 2 movies. You could watch this as one and then be excited for.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
Maybe watch it not immediately beforehand, so you just usually have enough time to process. So like
Yeah.
right now, like we were watching it every week, and now we're like, oh, we gotta wait like 2 years for the season. So I envy you in that you have time to kind of space it out and then watch
Yeah.
it all, soak it all in, and then be
Yeah.
that much closer to the next season.
It's nice that there is so much Star Wars out there at this point in time, and most of it is pretty decent, honestly.
Yeah.
We were just talking earlier, with the 40th anniversary of Jedi, and I left. I was in college when that came out, and I got out of the theater and sort of thought to myself, "Well, that's it. That's it for Star Wars. That was a fun ride."
Little did you know you'd make 12 guest appearances on Star Wars podcasts in the future.
And some of the weekend editions.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just got to hit a live show one of these days.
Well, we'll do a Madison appearance hopefully sometime.
Yeah. You are always
right, well-
welcome.
John, thanks for being another all-star this week with us. Anything else people should watch out for you? Anything to plug or anything like that?
Well, I just,
Still doing Dork Tower?
yeah, the latest Dork Tower collection came out last year, the Tao of Igor. It's available over at the Dork Tower web store and other games and comic book stores. I hear there are some cameos made by certain podcasters in the book. There is that added incentive. We should come up with a special code for Star Wars Minute listeners to get this.
94. Enter 94 at checkout, and you'll pay the same price as your
$94, which is more than the cover price, but
Yeah,
it's worth
working on a big new Munchkin project, which should be announced fairly soon, which is always fun. So, yeah, pretty much same old, same old.
chugging away.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess that will wrap up the minute then. And we want to give a special thanks to Don't Stop or We'll Die, the pop combo, which did our excellent closing theme this season, the Babu Frick song, the character that's going to be coming up in the movie. So thanks to those guys. And you should check Don't Stop or We'll Die out at all the digital streaming platforms. And check us out tomorrow for the final all-star Star Wars Minute.
All-Star
Star Wars Minute.
Minute.
All-Star.